Just for fans.
Now, Tim Burton did work for Disney as an illustrator, and they rejected every single character development that he did because they were like, this is too weird. And now some of his sketches of Alice in Wonderland, some of his sketches of characters that we know that were done by somebody else are in his exhibit, and it's so funny to see how Disney is like, oh yeah, Tim Burton, we love Tim Burton. Well, and Tim Burton was like, no.
Tim Burton is one of my favorites. Even this entire sleeve that I'm building is a Tim Burton sleeve, and I just got James and the Giant Peach. That was the whole reason I moved to New York, is James and the Giant Peach movie. So I just got this one right before quarantine. So yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Now, what advice do you have for an LGBTQ youth who has kind of been disowned or shut out by their family? I got this question because you have shared your coming out story, and it didn't go so well. You kind of ended up homeless without your family. What advice would you give for somebody going through that, especially right now?
I'm very open about it. I was homeless. I used to sleep out of my car. I would hook up with men, just have a couch to sleep on at night. I would steal food. So I've been there, and it's struggling. It is a real issue with LGBT youth. And the best thing that could have happened to me though was finding my circle of friends that supported who I authentically was, and they weren't trying to make me somebody else. And that was the best thing. It was a safe environment for me to be in. And I know that's hard to find, but with social media now, it's so much. I feel old saying this, but it's so much easier for people to connect now and find that circle of friends and that new support system in your new family. So just whenever they do come out, just make sure it's in a safe place.
No, where did you gather your personal strength to kind of overcome the couch surfing and still continue on your journey? You just didn't get, a job at McDonald's and that was your life. You continued on this journey. Being an artist is difficult, whether you have family support or not. It's just a difficult industry.
Yeah, I've always been a fighter, and I don't like losing, as we saw on TV. No, I don't. I'm always, no, I was just like, you gotta survive, and I wasn't gonna give up, and I had to do what I had to do to survive. And so when I was younger, I used to read comic books, and that was my escape, to whether I was being abused by my dad or homeless or anything. I would read comic books to put myself in their position to become that superhero and just get lost in that moment for that 1 second. And one of my favorites was Phoenix, which is what my original drag name was. And it was because she went through so much shit, but she always rose from the ashes. And I related to that so much. And I it's cheesy as it sounds, I was putting myself in Phoenix's shoes, and I was like, I can get through this. I could do this. I know there's a strong me in there. I can do this.
Now, what was your entree into the whole drag world? What was your very first onstage performance? Tell me, girl. There's a story there. Tell me.
Well, so my mom actually introduced me to drag queens, and my very first drag queen I ever met was this 7'4" tall queen named Beyonce in San Antonio, and just super nice, super sweet. But I honestly, drag scared me though. I didn't get it. I didn't understand why they wanted to dress up that way. I didn't understand the art. And it wasn't until that it was that group of people, all the drag queens, all the artists that brought me under their wing to take care of me, that I kind of it opened my eyes to see who these people were and the art, and I fell in love with it then. But I remember going to a show with Beyonce, and we're watching the show, and it was just people were going through the motions, they didn't have any feeling when they were performing. And as always a performing kid, I was like, oh, I could do that. I could do that way better. And the people next to me were like, okay, yeah, we'll do it. And so they're like, I dare you. And I was like, all right, cool. So I remember I went to Charlotte Russe and Forever 21. I bought
oh my God, that's the name of the past. Stephen Lee.
MascKara.
Hey girl, hey. How are you?
Good.
Good.
Ooh,
she's all dressed up. Finish him.
Got face on. Kara's in the house.
What I think is so fun is on your social media, you actually share the process. Because you're not brand new, but you're relatively new to the drag world. So you're still learning tips. You're still trying things out, and I love seeing that process because we know the Stephen Lee that we recognize from our from our extracurricular activities, and to see you blossom into MascKara. I just love saying that word, by the way. Now, you really enjoy playing with the feminine versus masculine part of your persona as a top in your scenes in the gay adult film world, but also as a drag queen on the streets and social media. Tell me about the whole idea of growing up masculine in Georgia as a high school jock, and how did that kind of play with your sexuality and who you are today?
Yeah, so I was born in Georgia, but I grew up in Ohio, but I mean, it's still, rural. It was, I didn't even know I was gay until, I guess I kind of knew, but I was in denial until like senior year, and I didn't come out till freshman year of college. But I mean, there was nobody else that was gay in the town that I grew up in. I graduated with 68 people, and it was public school, so it was really tiny. So I guess I didn't really have experiences until I went to college, and then I didn't really like live anywhere that was a big city until I was 25, and that was El Paso, which still isn't even that big.
Yeah, please welcome Kareem McJagger.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, girl.
Hello.
You've got the girls out tonight. I can see them from here. Your testicles are out.
A little cleavage for the camera, sex sells.
Yes. Oh, it sure do. Anthony, let's see some cleavage. Come on.
I am wearing a Cleopatra shirt. You see that cleavage right in there? Look at that.
Go.
Billy in the house, yes.
Yeah. Well, and when I show cleavage, it's the cleavage you don't want to see. So, Kareem, I have to say, your drag is a mood, girl. How would you? It is a mood. There we go. How would you describe your drag?
I would say that I try to bring a unique perspective to my performance. I often have found myself in situations where I don't fit into what everybody else is doing, and I spent a lot of time and energy on trying to fit in. And so now I'm more focused on taking things that people like and flipping them on their head, making it something totally different from what you thought it was going to be.
I love that.
Yeah.
And it is a surprise. When I look at your pictures, when I see your body of work, it's a surprise. Every look that you give is totally fresh, very different, commenting on society, on what we're going through. Now, who are some of your biggest artistic inspirations?
That is a good question. I am very much influenced by pop music, very much influenced by R&B music of the 90s, especially girl groups like SWV and En Vogue and TLC.
Yes.
I've always been very into R&B and pop music. I grew up on a lot of gospel music as well, so that influences a lot of the music that I write. And just sort of having a collaborative spirit. I believe that, a lot of times there's no one person that's good at everything. So if I can take my idea and be like, hey, you have this contribution, let's bring that in. Hey, you're good at this. Hey, try your hand at this. And it makes a better project. Like, let's focus on doing that rather than, putting out an inferior project, but it's like, yay, I'm the star and I did everything. Like, I don't see as much value in that as working collaboratively, especially
now, riddle me this. Every artist is coming out with new music, and Rihanna's coming out with new like house products or housewares or something. I just read that today. It's like, girl, make some music. What's going on with her?
Writing for her anymore.
Look, she wanted to make some money. That's what it is.
That Rachel Ray money.
Music is a great platform, but if you want to make some money, it can be definitely a good idea to pivot into something and diversify that portfolio for sure.
Yeah, plus I think she's going to let like all the noise from all of these new releases die down, and the minute we get out of COVID, she's going to be like, this is for you, and we're just gonna like wet our pants because we're gonna be so excited. Now, how did you come to New York? Tell me your journey, girl.
So I grew up in Columbia, South Carolina, and both of my parents grew up in New York. So we would come up for the holidays. I'd be shipped up for a month or two in the summer, just so I wouldn't be too country, and I could spend some time with the extended family and stuff. And so New York has always been something that's been in my orbit, in my awareness.
Yeah.
I've always seen it as, as somebody that didn't fit in South Carolina. I was like, okay, this is a place where I could feel more comfortable and, get a foothold into entertainment and live my dreams.
Name, name in life.
Exactly, and so it just always seemed like a great fit. So as soon as I graduated, as soon as I finished college and had one more class, I took it in New York. But I moved here as soon as I was really feasibly able to, and it's been a wild ride ever since, for sure.
Now, and Anthony, maybe you can shed some insight on this as well. The New York scene itself is so difficult to break into, and then the LGBT scene. How do you even break into that? Because it's not like they're like, oh, let's see who new is. It's like, no, it's like, the names that are having the parties are having the parties. They're the popular ones. But I can't imagine how difficult it is to break into the scene.
Yeah, go for it, Kareem.
Well, it's a lot of times it's just about building relationships. Like I said, I'm all about that collaborative spirit. So what I would do is I would enter a scene and show how I could be valuable. Let's show these people that are already established and already have their thing, what I could bring to the table, because at a certain point, doing the same thing over and over again is going to get stale. The people that are in power and that are doing things are going to need new ideas. They're going to need fresh perspectives. So let me show that I'm professional, that I'm easy to work with, and that I have worthwhile things to contribute to the conversation. And so I think that's really, I sat back and watched nightlife for a while and observed and took notes. And I was a nightlife writer for a while for Next Magazine before I actually started performing and hosting and promoting and things like that. So I sat back and got a little perspective before I jumped in head first.